And I want to welcome everybody to Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is an online sketch drawing group. We meet weekly. Currently, we're meeting on Tuesdays at 4:30 Pacific time. My name is Mark Monlux. I'll be your host today. I live in Tacoma, Washington, and I've been freelancing as an illustrator since 1985, a really long time. And I'm going to be working yet again on a movie poster today. First into the room today was Bill. Bill, introduce yourself.
I am Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator living and working in Seattle, Washington, and I also do a webcomic called Rhapsodies, which I am working on right now.
Well,
while Roger's working on his technical difficulties, we'll skip over to Katie for an introduction.
Hi, this is Katie C. I am on Instagram as @evilgirlfriendmedia. I'm a writer and artist from Bonnie Lake, Washington, and I do a lot of fan art, animal art, tarot cards, a lot of fun stuff. Today, I'm going to be working on one of my miniature character portraits of the clown, Art the Clown from Terrifier.
And Roger, why don't you do a quick introduction of yourself if you can?
sure. Hi, this is Roger Crown, cartoon animator coming from Spokane, Washington. I'm practicing animation today, nothing gigantically urgent. Thanks.
And then last but not least, we've got Virginia, who may do her introduction as soon as she's ready. Right now, we're getting a white screen from her, so I think she's trying to get things up and going.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, you're live.
I'm Virginia, and I'm from Seattle, and I'm working on just some sketches I did that I felt like needed color.
Oh,
I went to Bill's meeting, and it was awesome.
Oh, good. Sorry
Although,
about
you
your
know,
reading artist.
Yeah, I know, but it was just awesome. So
I'm glad.
Go again.
I'm glad I was. I'm glad you appreciated it. Regrettably, because I was so busy trying to fix that, I couldn't focus on it at all. So I'm glad it was. Everybody else liked it.
so Bill, have you put new protocols in place?
I'm looking into that, and I'm very welcome to good suggestions.
Well, I know it's a pain, but this group always relies on people showing their face or not getting in.
Yeah, but the frustrating thing was, as far as I could tell, the culprit was showing his face. The only thing that gave him away was he kept changing his name.
He kept changing his name? Interesting. That's an interesting tactic. I thought everyone's face was up, that I thought I recognized everybody. But then again, you must have had quite a few people sign up for that meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that you can go into the settings and turn off everything so that nobody has access to the whiteboard or for recording or for even the chat until you give them permissions.
Right.
So I think if you go back into your base settings and change all those before you open up the next meeting, you'll be okay.
I thought so as well. It was just the kind of the most frustrating thing. I mean, I felt like an idiot halfway through it. It's sort of like, even when I think I successfully cut it, finally kicked the guy out, the last bit of scribbles was stuck there, and I realized only after the fact that turning screen share on and off again would have taken care of it, but I didn't want to ruin Leonard's flow. But,
Well,
yeah.
Always a learning experience.
Yeah. And otherwise, things going well.
So, Mark, you said you wanted to be on Twitch, but you don't have a big enough computer, correct?
What I have is I have some very old computers. So one that I have is like almost 20 years old, a cheese grater. That's my primary computer. Now the laptop that I'm doing this on right now is on the edge of being 10 years old. Now its operating system's up to speed, but some of the software apps that people steer me to and that all the tutorials I'm finding to do Twitch, they're not working. For some reason, I'm not getting a certain icon to appear. And when I contacted my genius at the Genius Bar, he says, "Oh, this is because you have an older system with an older chip. That's what's causing the issue. That's why that particular icon's not popping up."
Right, that's what I was going to say. You need a powerful GPU and CPU, and with a computer costing roughly $1,000, 600 and 800.
No, this one, I mean, when I bought this computer, I spent a fair amount of money on it. It's got a good amount of memory. It's got a good amount of RAM. It's just that they're older chips.
Right.
And it might be the capacitor, or I'm trying to remember what exactly explained it to me, but it's not that the computer isn't strong enough. It's just that it's still not one of the hardware mechanisms isn't working for it. So
Right.
I'm now thinking that, well, maybe what I should do is I should do Twitch through my tablet, which is a possibility, but I need to investigate in on using the Twitch as the primary and then having it see whether or not it can grab this screen. Because I just don't like the idea of using my tablet, because then what am I going to be drawing on? I usually draw on the tablet.
Yeah.
What kind of computer do you usually use? Do you use Apple products, or what do you use?
I usually use Apple products. Now the one that the desktop computer I have right now is a let's see, it's a MacBook Pro from 2015.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I have I don't even know what the I've barely used it. I have this huge Mac that I bought a couple of years ago, and it literally is just sitting collecting dust. I was gonna say, but I think it's actually a 2015 or a 2016. So it's not, I don't know that it's gonna help you any. I think I'd just be giving you a really nice piece of old, a really old computer that you already have probably.
Now, my primary computer that I have is what is it? Man, it's like I said, it is also a Mac Pro, and it's from 2009.
Oh, okay.
And it's got a so it's even older, and it can only run it's running system 10, but only 10.9.5. That's the cutoff point. So I can't even use older browsers on that one anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I've been using them on my laptop, but even this laptop is beginning to have, you would think you could get just one computer and be, done forever. But no, if soon as, 10 years is a long time as far as the computer world's considered.
Yeah. No,
And
you're right.
and all the tutorials that you see out there for how things work, they're all for the new equipment with the latest apps. And if they don't just quite jive up, there's no real way to troubleshoot it, because it's I was even trying to do a live drawing session that another guy who said he had the exact same computer as mine. And so we were trying to troubleshoot it together, and then we took a look, and it turned out that mine was 6 months older than his.
Oh gosh.
And that was making the entire difference. I'm kind of going,
Yeah.
man. So my wife keeps saying, "Oh, I'll buy you a new computer." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I suppose." But
Right, so you need a newer generation of the CPU.
that's
GPU.
correct.
That's correct. Okay.
So either that or I need a slightly less ancient one. But I'm still going to look in to see what I can do with either doing Twitch via my phone or via my my iPad. But it's such a low priority for me right now.
Yeah.
What I'm doing right now is doing a lot of data entry for this year's taxes. For all the shows you do, I have to enter in all those transactions.
Yep.
What a pain. So,
That's that's one of I think my husband's most exciting things is when he can't wait for me to retire, so I can just do all, keep our accounting up all year long, to make it easier, because I make his life difficult in the April, because I'm always like running around. I'm like, where is this? Where's this one? Where's this one? Where's this receipt? What happened here? And I try to keep on top of
can't
it. But
he do all that himself, or is he just?
no, I'm better at it.
Uh,
There's certain trade-offs that you have in, like, he does a lot of other stuff day to day. So, me doing the taxes is not a huge deal. It's
No,
just annoying because I'm like always running around the house because but I'm hoping to streamline more of our business stuff when I have a little more free time.
I understand the whole trade-off situation. My wife won't even let me cook. No.
Yeah, he does all the cooking, so we've got that, and then he does a lot for our dogs, our house, so the least I can do is the business portion. I'm going to make him do all of my advertising for my books when I retire too. He's really good at it, but you're just talking about technology changing, and that's one of the things, it's not beneficial for Amazon or any of these social medias to allow you to have any kind of ability to have free advertisement, right? They want you're going to have to pay for it if you want any attention anymore. And so he's constantly having to spend time relearning things that he already thought he had a grasp on, because they're constantly changing our algorithms and everything to try to get more money out of you,
Right.
And so it's a constant learning curve for him. He just started some new techniques that he learned. And there are folks that they spend a lot of time. They love the science and the problem solving of the social media algorithms.
I do not
and
like the problem solving at all.
Yeah. And so he follows a lot of those folks. And there's a really good, for writers, there's a really good convention. We're not going again this year, but I wish we were going, called 20 Books to 50K. And then you get these really smart folks with like all these crazy science degrees and different types of degrees, but they're all writers. And so they use their other trades knowledge to figure out things to help improve their writing career and their art career. So it's a really fun a fun convention to go to, but it's in Vegas and you have to walk everywhere. And it used to be we went the first couple of times. I think the first time we went, it was only like 150, 200 people. There's thousands of people that go to this convention now, thousands of them. And so it's not, I'm sure it's still going to have a lot of value. It's just not the same thing that we went to several years ago that we really enjoyed. It's a completely different tool. I mean, do any of you ever go to any kind of professional trade conventions besides like sci-fi, like conventions where you sell, books or art?
I go to conventions where I do no selling whatsoever. Well, not quite. I go to a convention called the International Forum of Visual Practitioners.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it's for people who are in that industry to share tips and techniques on the trade.
Okay, awesome.
There is sort of like a library. A lot of us have written books and we bring our books with us and we basically leave them in the library. And anyone who wants to buy one of our books goes to the library and buys one.
Oh, fun. Okay.
But it's not like we have a table and stuff. There's no vendors hall because that's not what we're there for. We're there to pick each other's brains.
Right.
And a room, usually there's about 200 people. They're from all over the world and they're all excellent communicators. And so it's when you have excellent communicators in a room communicating with each other, there's a lot of information being processed. It's just an extremely fun full time. So I used to go to Graphic Artists Guild conventions, which was all about the running of the organization. And Bill, do you still go to the conventions, or has it been strictly since the pandemic?
It's
online.
Between budget and pandemic, it's been online for the last 3 years or 2, but yeah. Which is a shame. I always enjoyed those trips, even though I probably couldn't enjoy it as much as a lot of the people there because I was a secretary.
Which is my function when I was with the guild, was as a secretary. So I feel your
it's sort of like spent most of my time being a human tape recorder, and when everybody else was going out to socialize, I had to go and lock myself in my room so that I could translate all of my gibberish notes into English.
Yeah, I went out with everybody. I saved all my translation for when I was on the flights home, but for the most part, yeah, I wasn't going to miss an opportunity to.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did too, but at the same time, it's my experience that you have to really the sooner you do the basic processing, the better, because then you have the memory that understands the prompts.
Well, I must have just have a different way of doing note taking. Because I never had an issue with dealing with extra time. Maybe I just kept them far more basic.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I'm a real guy for Roger's Rules of Order. I can, and most groups don't. My wife has to do Roger's Rules because she works for the government, and you got to go by them. I remember the person that taught me Robert's Rules was from the guild, and we pretty much referred to it as Bob's Rules rather than Robert's Rules. So something a little bit more informal.
Yeah, Bob's Rule. Officially, Bob's Rules are is the sort of the 2-page comic book version, which what's his name did.
Lloyd Dangle.
Yeah.
I think I have something on the shelf here I want to show people. Just a sec.
And I mean, heck, I have Robert's Rules of Order on my phone.
So here's my little show and tell, little paperback of Robert's Rules of Orders, and it happens to be illustrated by Will Eisner.
Oh, I will have
And
to.
so he's done a ton. Yeah, he did a ton of illustrations for this. Let me take a look when this first one was first done. Done through Bantam Books. Copyright 1982, artwork and illustrations copyrighted by Bill Eisner and are the property of the artist. But yeah, he did a fantastic job of singing out everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting considering he's considered the inventor of the graphic novel. A good chunk of his career was spent doing educational comics, mostly for the Army.
Now, here's another little book I found called Parliamentary Law at a Glance.
Mhm.
And it's very thin, but the way it's set up is the pages are actually shorter. See how some of the pages are shorter and some of the pages are longer?
Mhm.
So at the top on this page, it says, what do I want to do? Privilege motions, adjourn the resources. So you go down to the index of what it is, subsidiary motions, and then just flip to it and it'll show you what to do. This is sort of like something to use on the fly when you're at the meetings. So you go to this main spread and nearly everything you need to do at a meeting can be figured out on this main spread. I was just amazed by that. And then it's got this pull out sheet. Let's see. Sort of like an Excel chart that goes across on rows and then continues over on the other side, and that flips back down and in. And, oh, it had this old bookmark in it that fell out. I need to put that back. But this has been extremely handy whenever something comes up and they say, how do we handle that? And I love both of these little books. The Robert's Rules was sort of like my airplay reading fodder for a couple years. Now I'm having difficulty right now because I'm trying to import a file from Dropbox. It's a PDF file. And I want it on my iPad. And let's see if that worked. I'm trying to move it from Dropbox onto my file. But I'm trying to figure out, okay, on your iPad, where is your files folder? I never figured that out. Am I dumb? Bill, do you know where the file folder is?
Yeah, but it's just the at the very least, just pull down and search files, but
Are you,
No, there's a folder where downloaded files go into.
are you in a Mac or a Android?
I'm on an iPad tablet.
Okay,
yeah.
so I can't help you.
You have the Dropbox app on it, don't you?
Yes, but okay, I went to the Dropbox app and I went ahead and I said, okay, download this and or share it. And I want to
Yeah, I mean, as far as the file icon, it's this one here.
hold that a little more closer. Oh, I see. Okay, so I look for that. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. It's in the, okay, that's great. I've got these other files. I wonder, should probably toss out some of these things. I don't need them anymore. Okay, let's see. I should be able to go to Procreate then. And I'll just create.
As far as Procreate is concerned, you open it's in under Add.
Yeah, so I'll go up to add, and then I said insert file. And I click on that. And then but when I go into the untitled folder, it doesn't show the file as an option. I'll go to, let's see. Yeah, it's a PDF file and I see it, but it's grayed out.
Oh, perhaps it might be that the try importing the PSD as a JPEG or something similar, and then
Well, I
it might be
need,
that Procreate doesn't read it.
yeah, I think what I'm going to have to do is export it or change it inside Photoshop because I need it to be a PNG, not a JPEG, because the JPEGs will show up as white and I need to have that transparency feature.
Okay, yeah, it handles PNGs just fine.
Yeah, so I'll have to try that. I was just hoping that a PDF would work. But bother. This Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be doing a small show.
Nice.
It is called the Olympia Sticker Fest.
Oh yeah, you told us about that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Now, Katie, I did post on Freelance Fandango another show that I just got into.
Okay.
And it's a 5-hour show on November 25th. That's the day after, Black Friday. This is pardon me, November 25th.
Okay.
You got Black Friday and this is sort of like, Cyber Saturday, but it's in Longview, Washington, and it's called Black Market or Dark Market. Pardon me, not Black Market. Pardon me. This is wrong. Let me see what the name of this thing is. I'm going to go to. I applied to it a little while ago, and They said, yeah, you're in. It's $60 for a table, so it's very inexpensive. Yeah, it's the Longview Dark Market. Now accepting vendor applications on November 25th, 11 to 5 p.m. in the banquet hall of the Cowlitz Event Center in Longview, Washington. And I figure, okay, that's perfect. This is supposed to be a J&B event, and Offbeat Antiques and Oddities presents. I think it's supposed to be a dark and creepy show. So I don't know if that's something that would you guys would be interested in or not, but hey, it's only $60 to have a spot.
I'll have to take a look at it. I may not be in town during that time. So it's like, I'd hate to get it and then be like, yeah, I have to travel for work. And then they're like, oh yeah, this lady.
Well, are you saying that you don't have Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving off? Because this
Possibly
is
not. Yeah.
Oh my God, you might have to work
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I normally don't do clinical nursing, but I'm on call to do clinical nursing during that time. And so if I get called to do my nursing stuff, I might actually even be called out of town. So it's kind of like,
Oh,
I
you're
don't
so
really-
going to get the call because,
yeah, that's why I'm like, if I signed up for that, I know I'd get called and they'd be like, oh yeah, you're going somewhere in Texas or New York or somewhere like that. And then I will.
What, they actually send you that far afield?
Yeah, I go everywhere, all over the country when I'm on call. So I haven't in the last couple of years because of COVID, but now that everything with COVID is changing, there is a chance. So it's like I kind of just don't want to tempt fate. And I'm definitely a Murphy's Law person. So yeah, I could be gone for up to a month. So, but I'll let you know for Epic Sketch if I'm gone for a month.
So what did you think of the suggestions I made to your drawing?
I like them. Yeah, some of the highlighting, I'm definitely gonna take the blue hue. So like this is the original that it's based off of, but I modified it obviously to be digital. This is the
Right.
original. But the blue hue really kind of pumped up the creep factor. So, and then like some of the enhancements to, the highlighting of the hair and definitely the teeth. I really liked what I did with her teeth. I was pretty proud of that. So yeah, I definitely am gonna.
Yeah, I was
use those.
surprised how just a couple little glints on the teeth was enough to really pop them forward.
But isn't that the way it goes? It's like that one little thing you're missing. And then you're like, crap, how did I not see that's the one little bitty thing I needed? That's usually how it goes, right? That's why you always contact your trusted friends when you're like, and I felt so bad because I noticed after, right before I was like, oh my gosh, I think he's out with his family. I don't want to bother him if he's, doing something with his family, because it looks like you guys went on a hike or something, or maybe you went on one and you just posted the pictures, or.
Well, I was with my folks and there's always a little bit of downtime between things.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, because you guys had like a family.
Oh, my brother came in from I basically gave my brother a ride to my parents' house from the airport.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was, and then once we were there, we took my mom for a walk, and then he had to take my dad to a medical appointment.
Oh, wow.
So I basically went home at that point because I needed to get some work done. And once I got home, I figured, okay, I'll text Katie now. I think I texted you before, and then that then I was thinking about it and kind of going, you know what? If I could just show her what I
What you're-
texted, it wouldn't take that. I mean, it's such a small little thing. I could just do it and send her what,
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I'm just grateful I have people in my life now where I can be like, there's, I can go, hey, what does this need? Because I can't see it. So I'm definitely I've gotten smart enough to know, when I need help versus there have been times where I'm like, it's, not felt comfortable enough asking people. And now at least I know people well enough to ask. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah, we were just down in you were mentioning Longview. We were just down there for the beach. We went to the beach and it was a lot of fun. We had a good time with that. It was very beautiful at Cannon Beach this time of year.
one of my very, very first memories is of Cannon Beach.
Oh, really?
Well, I was born in Longview, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I was a wee toddler, somewhere between 1 and 4, that's one of my earliest memories, is being on that beach.
It's such a majestic place. We were there with some friends who came from Ohio. They weren't here particularly just to see us, but they made time for us and came out to the beach. And it was just so cool because one of my friends, she has some ambulatory issues, but she had gotten a new wheelchair, and that beach is set up to so that it's wheelchair accessible. And so she was able to go on the beach with all of us and just walk, and it was a really cool day. She was I don't think she was as excited as her wife, but then once she got on the beach and she saw how accessible it was, she was actually really enjoying herself and having a good time. It was nice. Especially since I hadn't seen these people in like 20 years, almost 20 years. So it was really great to see them and have such a wonderful day at the beach. Of course, I took my sketchbook, I had no time to sketch. We were in between doing everything because we were just there for 2 days. We just had the TV on and we watched a bunch of stupid movies. Like we had stupid movies on in the background. Like we watched Scary Movie 1, Scary Movie 2, Scary Movie 3, because they were just on TV.
It doesn't get much stupider than those.
And then
I haven't seen any of the scary movies, just little outtakes.
I hadn't either, but a lot of those movies came out when I was in nursing school, and the only thing I did when I was in nursing school was go to nursing school. And so it was fun to watch a bunch of them and be like, oh, okay, now I know. Yeah, okay. Not sure if this is a bucket list item, but here we are. And then there was one that we put on. It was a can't remember. It was those brothers. We saw 2 different movies that were there was a Farrelly Brothers movie, and then it was called Kingpin, I think was the name of it. And that one was really silly.
Oh, I haven't seen Kingpin yet. I've only heard
Yes.
This is the one about the bowling league.
Yes, it's very silly. And then we watched another one though that was really dark, but it was another set of brothers who made that one, and it was Burn After Reading.
Oh my God, Burn After Reading's hilarious.
Oh,
that movie is just, oh my gosh. A Confederacy of Dunces.
Oh. speaking of funny, hilarious things, unfortunately, that one's never had a movie made out of it.
No, it has not.
Yeah, great read though.
But yeah, so I'd never seen that. And so that was really enjoyable. Spoiler alert, seeing Brad Pitt's, head being,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't want to ruin it for anyone in case someone's listening and hasn't seen it.
I have seen it, but I'm not remembering many of the details at the moment.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's something. It is definitely something, that's for sure. I was like, goodness gracious. And then I can't remember what other movie we watched, but yeah, we watched those, and then we started a new series from Hulu, which we just can't seem to get enough of. Is called The Other Black Girl. It is a kind of like
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it is. If you're into sci-fi horror thrillers with like a touch of comedy, it's good. It's kind of it's giving off like the Only Murder in the Building vibes, but then it also has some like elements like they're tongue in cheek, like they talk about she's apparently not, I don't think she's associated with it, but they reference Shonda Rhimes, the lady who she did Scandal and she did Grey's Anatomy. Like she's just a preeminent screenplay or television writer, and I think she's written a couple screenplays, but so they reference her as like an influence. But because I kind of saw it and I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of like a girly show or whatever. But then it was like Tim and I started watching it, and he was more he was as enthralled, if not more than me, just because it's such good writing. And it's just interesting because you're like, what is about to happen next? What is happening here? What is going on? So yeah, we're really enjoying it. And then Wheel of Time started. I don't know if you guys are watching the second season of Wheel of Time. So that started, and then so we're watching that. And then what else? Oh, and then we just finished the second season of Foundation, which is, I did not read the books. Of course, they're loosely based on the books.
Very loosely, yes.
Yeah, but it was a really amazing season finale for Foundation as well. It was kind of like, whoa. Tim read the books, but he said to him the show is more interesting than the books, because he said when you read the books, it's like just a bunch of guys standing around talking, smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, if you did a straight adaptation of the books, you virtually do it on a shoestring because it's pretty much just a drawing room drama.
Yeah, and so we were talking about it, and but yeah, so we enjoyed it, and we had saw some reviews that weren't, it's like one of those things like, dang it, I don't want to see any reviews. And then so we were trying really hard not to watch, any of the reviews of that last episode, except that it said that it was a shocking and thrilling season finale. And I would have to concur with that. I would have to concur. I thought it was pretty shocking and thrilling myself. But I don't know that I watched any other movies over the weekend. We watched a movie recently, but I can't remember what it was.
This is very frustrating.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to my Dropbox.
Okay.
I'm going to my folder in Dropbox. I'm selecting the PNG file. Where's that PNG file? Okay, so here's the PNG file. And I'm selecting it. Oh, it actually imported this time. Never mind.
You only had to curse it.
Yeah, so never mind, people. It worked for me.
Oh, speaking of movies, this a quick question. I was thinking of making my pick for the week being Once Upon a Time in the West, and as far as suggestions of things to go with it that I have not seen, so far I have Mean Streets, Miller's Crossing, and Carlito's Way, and something called Hoodlum.
Okay, Miller's Crossing is one of my favorite gangster films.
Okay.
Is that the
I'm trying to
moonshine
figure
one?
out why it would go with, you're doing Once Upon a Time in the West. That hardly
Oh,
seems.
sorry, in America.
Oh, okay. Okay. What were your other choices to go with Once Upon a Time in America?
According to this one webpage I looked in, Mean Streets, Hoodlum, Miller's Crossing, and Carlito's Way.
Okay. Miller's Crossing is a top-notch movie. It's a 9 or a 10 in my book.
Okay. And I've been here, and that's been on my go see list anyway. So even if it's a stretch, I don't need many excuses to see it.
It's an absolutely beautifully done film.
And I've been hearing so many good things about Once a Time in the West. I mean, simply because it's
Once Upon a Time in America, not
America, simply because it's one, at the very least, because it's one of the only non-Western I'm aware of Leone making.
Now, what you should do is do a double feature of Once Upon a Time in the West and Once Upon a Time in America and do that comparison. But, yeah, I loved Miller's Crossing so much that I learned how to sing Danny Boy as a result because of this one scene in it. Where the music is integral to the whole scene. And I later found out that I had a cat named Maddie, and apparently I am a terrible singer. And if I sang Danny Boy, regardless of where she was in the house or what deep sleep she would be in, she'd come running at full speed, jump on me, and then start biting my wrist until I stopped singing.
Oh dear.
Oh my God.
It's not like your voice.
She was out for blood. So I will, if I can't get cat approval, but you know how they have those, worst tenor contests?
Uh-huh.
I thought, oh yeah, I could go in there with Danny Boy and just maybe take the crown.
It. Yeah.
Oh no, now I've got it.
You got it stuck in your head now?
Yeah. It's funny, the first time I ever heard the song, heard the song was in a cartoon called Roger Ramjet, where the way they recognized the villain were because it was the St. Patrick's festival, and the way to spot the imposter in the festival was to sing Danny Boy, and the people who couldn't who didn't cry were obviously not Irish and thus the imposters.
Well, now I got the song stuck in my head.
Oh my
Reap the
goodness.
Reap the wheel whirlwind, man.
Speaking of movies and mob movies, I watched The Irishman.
Oh, I watched that when it first came out. Yeah, that one's awesome.
And takes a bit of a commitment. It's a 3.5-hour movie. But I've kind of been saving it like, piece of cheesecake.
Oh, you said in your review.
Oh, in case you people don't know, I put out something I call the Weekly Dose of Mark. And basically, I write down in it all my little movie reviews of everything I've watched. The little snippets I do, I write down like 2 or 3 sentences of my dreams and post them on Facebook. So I add that to my weekly dose. And then I usually write about little interactions I've had with my friends and neighbors. And so Bill's on the list. But if you want to be on the Weekly Dose of Mark, just send me your email to markmonlux@comcast.net. Name's right there. My wife isn't very thrilled that I do that, but it was one of the things that she bought into, or rather, it got grandfathered into the relationship. I said, hey, I've been doing this email. Before it was an email, it was a pen pal list. And I had a pen pal list of about between 150 people. And rather than write to each and every one of them, I would just do the dose. And I actually, when I got my computer, I had I did it in a newsletter structure that was quite graphic and had the little drawings and stuff in it. But before then, I would just type it out and Xerox them off and then pop them in the mail to my pen pals. And I've got the people I've been with pen pals with for decades. One of my longest pen pals is a gal named Mojan Farahman. And she's from Iran. And for a while, she was living in the States, and I got to fly over to Georgia and see her when she was living there. But she has since moved back to Iran. She kind of got homesick. She never learned how to drive, and she was in a place in Atlanta that was basically not a walking neighborhood. And so she didn't get out much. And she was in one of those large multi-building apartment complexes where no one talks to each other.
Oh yeah.
And so she felt very estranged.
I think also too, depending on how you grew up, like if you grew up with a big community around you, I don't know if that's how she grew up. I think it is harder. Like for me, I grew up in a rural area, so the only people that I really had to, you know, play with or have a community with my siblings. And then my cousins who occasionally came to see, hang out. And they didn't come very often. So yeah, I can be alone for a lot of time and find things for myself. But I think if you are used to community or your family, I think it could be very hard to be in a strange place where you don't have access to things. Especially, I mean, I think mobility is better, but like here in Washington State, I think unless you live in certain areas, the walkability in Washington State's horrible, Just depends on where you live.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like one thing I always get culture shock from being a transplanted Yankee is just how spread out everything is out here.
Mm-hmm.
You think this is spread out? You gotta go to Houston.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Go where?
Houston.
Oh, Houston. Yeah. God, anything in Texas, it's spread out. They call it a Texas mile for a reason.
Yeah. Yes.
I actually did a research project on maternal or infant and maternal death in the state of Texas when I was in graduate school. And one of the reasons why they actually attributed to fetal and maternal death was the fact that especially depending on the socioeconomic area you were in, was that people couldn't get access. They just couldn't get a ride to go to the doctor on the regular basis or use any programs. So even if a program was available, because they didn't have an amazing system, even in the larger cities for, transportation, people just couldn't go to the doctor.
That was my biggest, when we lived in, when we lived in Texas, that was my biggest beef. When I lived in San Antonio as a child, we could catch the bus anywhere. But then the city grew so big and they didn't expand the bus. Well, Houston, there's no bus. I mean, any bus that is, you can catch it downtown, but that's it. That's all. It's just horrible. And like my daughter lives in, what do you call it? Not Seguin, Glendora, Texas. You might know where it is, but it's like tiny town, and she has to go to a grocery store in Houston to get groceries.
Oh yeah, that sounds
Yeah. So and it isn't better.
Yeah, when I worked which this was a long, long time ago, I mean, people don't realize how much transportation is such an important aspect. This turned into a lecture on sociology and public health, but hey, whatever, right? As long as we keep trying. But yeah, it's surprising, like all of the things that affect our health that have nothing to do with actually how we take care of ourselves at home.
I had the experience of the distance thing this summer where my mom gave us a scare with what we mistook for a mini stroke for about 4 hours. Happily, it turned out to be pneumonia making her loopy. But this, for context, where my folks spend the summer is in down east Maine. So so she was taken to the hospital, very small hospital in Damariscotta, which is probably no bigger than Bonnie Lake. And if it turned out to have been something worse that small hospital couldn't handle, then they would have taken her to Portland, which was an hour and a half away.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because Portland, even though Portland, Maine is not even that big of a town, but it's one of the largest towns in Maine, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
I believe it's the biggest one. If not, it's a toss-up between it and Augusta.
Yeah, because I spent a summer in, of all places, Wayne, Maine,
Mhm.
on Androscoggin Lake. And so I had the opportunity to be near Portland and Bangor and or Bangor.
Well,
Do you guys
folks,
say Bangor or Bangor?
Bangor.
Katie, do you want to hold your painting up to the camera because we're going to be cutting away?
Oh, sure.
Because
Sorry.
it's almost time to stop.
Nice.
It's not that great, but it's getting there.
And before we sign off, I want to recommend people to go to Eventbrite and check out the Graphic Artist Guild. I believe tomorrow they're having a webinar that deals with how to keep your material from being sucked up by AI search engines and having
Ooh,
them
okay.
emulate. There's a professor talking about that. Bill, do you remember what the specific title of that was?
Oh, not off the top of my head, but
Well, we don't have time for you to look it up because it's already at 5:30. So I want to thank everyone for joining me at Epic Sketch Time, especially Bill. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. On the off chance that I can't, I will do a posting, but I should be here. And nice talking to you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.